Captain Jiho stood on the bridge of the UNS Horizon and watched the stars through the wide window. His hands were shaking a little, but he tried to hide it. Today was the day they would test the new weapon, the Railgun. It was the biggest thing humanity had ever built for space. The ship was quiet, except for the soft beeping of computers. Jiho looked at his crew. Lieutenant Sumin sat at her station, checking numbers on her screen. She had been doing this for 3 hours straight. Ensign Hyan was watching the target, a big rock floating in space far away. Everyone was nervous. "Captain, all systems are ready," Sumin said. Her voice was steady, but Jiho could hear the excitement under it. Jiho nodded. He walked to the center of the bridge, where Officer Daeho was waiting at the weapons control. Daeho was young, maybe the youngest person on the ship, but he was the best they had. His fingers moved over the bright controls like he was playing music. "The target is locked," Hyan called out. "Asteroid Echo 77. Distance is 400,000 kilometers. Nothing else is in the way." Jiho took a deep breath. Humanity had been alone in space for so long. They had sent radio signals into the darkness for 70 years. They had listened with big dishes pointed at the stars. They had hoped and waited, but nobody ever answered. The universe was silent and empty, or so they thought. "Daeho, you have control," Jiho said. "Fire when ready." Daeho's hands moved quickly. "Capacitor banks are full. All magnetic coils are aligned. The projectile is ready." He looked up at Jiho. "Permission to fire, sir." "Granted." The lights on the bridge dimmed. Jiho felt the floor vibrate under his feet. The railgun was pulling enormous amounts of power from the ship's reactors. Enough power to run a whole city. All of that energy was going into one purpose: to throw a piece of metal faster than anything humanity had ever thrown before. "Firing in 3 seconds, Daeho announced. 2, 1, mark." There was no sound. In space, there never was. But Jiho saw the flash through the window. A streak of light, bright and fast, racing away from the ship. The tungsten projectile was small, about the size of a trash can, but it was moving at incredible speed. Fast enough to cross the distance to the asteroid in just 3 seconds. When it hit, the asteroid exploded. Not like a bomb with fire and smoke. It just came apart into thousands of pieces. The rock that had been floating in space for billions of years was suddenly dust and fragments. Glittering in the sunlight, out the bridge erupted in cheers. Sumin jumped up and hugged Hyan. Daeho punched the air with his fist. Even the serious communications officer, Mingho, was smiling. They had done it. The railgun worked perfectly. "Send the results to Earth," Jiho ordered, allowing himself a smile. "Tell them we have success." Mingho turned to his station, but then he stopped. His smile faded. "Sir, I'm getting something strange." "What is it?" "Signals. Multiple signals. They're coming from deep space." Minho's fingers flew over his controls. "This doesn't make sense. There are dozens of them." The celebrating stopped instantly. Everyone turned to look at Minho.G. Ho walked over fast. "What kind of signals?" "I don't know. Different frequencies. Different patterns. But they all have structure. Mathematics. They're trying to communicate." Mingho looked up at Jiho with wide eyes. "Captain, these aren't random. These are messages." "Play it," Jiho said quietly. The speakers came alive with sound. Clicks and whistles. Musical tones that went up and down. Strange rhythms that almost sounded like language. Under all of it was something clear: intelligence, purpose, meaning. Sumin had gone pale. "We're not alone." Jiho stared at the screen, showing all the incoming signals. Red dots appearing on the star map. 1 and 5, then 20, then 50. They were coming from all directions, near and far, some from just a few light years away, others from across the galaxy. How many? He asked. Minho was counting. 147 distinct sources, all broadcasting on frequencies we can detect, all trying to reach us. Hyen spoke up from his station. But Captain, we've been broadcasting for 70 years. Why didn't they answer before? Why now? That was the question, wasn't it? Humanity had been shouting into space for decades. Radio, television, deliberate messages. Nothing had ever come back. The universe had been silent, dead, empty dot until now. Until they fired the Railgun. Get me Earth Command immediately, Geo said. His voice was calm, but his heart was racing. And wake up everyone in the linguistics department. I don't care what time it is. We need them now. Yes, sir, Mignot said. Jiho looked out at the stars again. They didn't look empty anymore. Somewhere out there, in that vast darkness, someone was watching. Many someones. And they had all chosen this exact moment to speak. The Railgun test had been a success. But Jiho had a terrible feeling that they had done more than destroy an asteroid. They had announced themselves to the galaxy in a way that radio waves never could. They had shown the universe what humanity could do. And the universe had noticed. Captain, Minot said softly, one of the signals is repeating the same pattern. I think I can isolate it. Do it. The speakers focused on one signal. The clicks became clearer. The pattern was obvious now. A sequence of numbers. Prime numbers. Then coordinates. Then something else. It's a warning, Sumin whispered. She had been watching the translation attempt on her screen. The pattern. It's a universal danger signal. A warning about what? Dehao asked. Before anyone could answer, a new signal came through. This one was different, stronger, closer. The computer translated it into simple mathematics. And the mathematics became words on the screen. Cease, forbiddance, danger, violation. The bridge was silent again. Not the comfortable silence of space. The terrified silence of people who suddenly realized they had made a terrible mistake. Jiho read the words over and over. What have we done? Nobody had an answer. They had fired a weapon at a rock. A simple test. A demonstration of human engineering. And somehow, that single act had woken up the entire galaxy. The signals kept coming, more and more of them. All of them urgent. All of them trying to tell humanity something important. But the message was clear, even without perfect translation. Stop. Don't do that again. You've broken a rule. But what rule? What had they violated? And who had made these rules that humanity never knew existed? Jiho sat down in his captain's chair. His legs felt weak. 70 years of silence, and one weapon test had ended it. First contact wasn't supposed to happen like this. It was supposed to be peaceful, exciting, hopeful. This felt like they had just triggered an alarm in a house they didn't know they were inside. Keep monitoring all signals, Geo ordered. Record everything. And someone get me every xenologist, every physicist, every person who ever thought about aliens. We need answers. What do we tell Earth? Minho asked. Jiho looked at the screen full of alien messages. Tell them the truth. Tell them we're not alone. And tell them we might have just made the biggest mistake in human history. Dr. Yuna had not slept in 2 days. She stood in front of 200 of the most powerful people on Mars, holding a tablet that contained the translated alien messages. Her hands were steady, but her mind was racing. We've decoded the signals, she began. 147 sources. 147 different civilizations. The room went silent. You could hear people breathing. The messages are different, but they all say the same basic thing. They're shocked. They're scared. And they're warning us to stop what we're doing. Yuna brought up a hologram showing the translated text. This one is from a species called the Thalari. It says, "You have violated the first law. Stop now or face consequences." Admiral Borum stood up from her seat near the front. She was old, maybe 70, with gray hair and sharp eyes. What first law? We never agreed to any laws. That's the problem, Yuna said. There's a Galactic Council. It's been around for thousands of years. They have rules. Very strict rules. And we just broke the most important one. She showed more messages. Each one painted the same picture. There was a whole galaxy full of life out there. Hundreds of civilizations. Maybe thousands. They all knew about each other. They all followed the same laws. And humanity had just walked onto the stage without knowing any of this. Here's the key message, Yuna said. She highlighted text from a species called the Vokrim. It says, "Kinetic weapons above Class 4 energy are forbidden. They are extinction weapons. Only the Forsaken use such things." Minister Junho leaned forward in his seat. Are they threatening to attack us? Not exactly, Yuna said carefully. They're afraid of us. That's what I'm trying to explain. The entire galaxy runs on an energy ceiling. All their weapons are calibrated to destroy ships and buildings, but not planets. Lasers, plasma, particle beams. All controlled. Safe. They've been doing it this way for so long that kinetic weapons are considered barbaric. Director Taijin spoke up. But we built the Railgun for asteroid defense. For mining. We weren't trying to threaten anyone. They don't care about our reasons, Yuna said. What matters is what the weapon can do. And our Railgun can throw projectiles at speeds that could destroy worlds. That's what they detected. Not our radio broadcasts from 70 years ago. The energy signature of a Class 7 kinetic weapon firing. That's what made them finally contact us. Admiral Borum stood again. So what happens now? Do they quarantine us? Attack us? They want to talk, Yuna said. The Galactic Council is holding an emergency session about us. They're sending representatives to Earth. When? 6 hours from now. The room exploded into chaos. People shouting questions, arguing, demanding answers. Yuna let them talk for a minute, then raised her voice. Listen. We have 6 hours to prepare for first contact. Real first contact. Not with one species, but with representatives from the entire galactic government. We need linguists, diplomats, security, everything. We need to be ready. Director Taijin was already on his phone, making calls. Admiral Borum was gathering her military staff. Minister Junho was coordinating with Earth governments. Everyone was moving now. Yuna sat down and closed her eyes for just a moment. Humanity had dreamed about meeting aliens for centuries. Stories, movies, books. But it was never supposed to happen because humans accidentally scared the whole galaxy. Her tablet buzzed. Another message had been translated. This one was shorter, simpler. We are coming. Do not be afraid. But do not fire that weapon again. Yuna showed it to Admiral Borum. At least they're being polite. For now, Borum said. But Yuna, be honest with me. Are we in danger? Yuna looked at all the messages, all the warnings, all the fear in the alien communications. I think we're in danger of being judged. And I don't know if we're ready for that. 6 hours later, the sky over Geneva changed. One moment it was clear blue. The next moment there was a ship. Not flying in. Not descending. Just there, like it had always been there. It was massive, the size of a city block, floating silently above the city. Ambassador Kyung-soo waited in the contact room they had prepared. It was simple, neutral, with translation equipment and cameras to record everything. Behind him stood his team: Soo-Yoon the linguist, Colonel Wano the military advisor, and Dr. Minji the xenobiologist. 4 humans to meet the galaxy. The aliens materialized in the room without using a door. Just appeared. Like magic or science so advanced it looked like magic. There were 3 of them. The first looked like living crystal. It caught the light and broke it into rainbows. When it spoke, the translation came through as a deep voice. I am Envoy Talmara of the Crystalline Collective. The second had 4 wings and feathers that shimmered with colors that shouldn't exist. Observer Kelver, representing the Spire Concordat. The third was the strangest. It was there, but not quite there. Its edges blurred like it existed in multiple places at once. Arbiter Nixville, voice of the Eternal Council. Kyung-Soo bowed. He had practiced this. Be respectful. Be humble. Don't make it worse. On behalf of humanity, welcome to Earth. I am Ambassador Lee. We want to understand your concerns. Arbiter Nixville became more solid, more real, as it focused on Kyung-Soo. Your respect is noted, but respect doesn't erase what you've done. Kinetic weapons of that power are outlawed across all Council civilizations. We didn't know about the Council, Kyung-Soo said carefully. Or the laws. Not knowing the law doesn't mean you didn't break it, Envoy Talmara said. Its voice rang like bells. These laws protect all life. Your species has shown it can build extinction weapons. That makes you dangerous. Colonel Wonho stepped forward. With respect, our Railgun was for defense. Against asteroids. Against natural threats. Observer Kelvir's feathers ruffled. Defense against what? You've detected no hostile species in your area of space. Yet, Wano said, we detected nobody at all until we fired that railgun. How could we know what threats were out there? The 3 aliens looked at each other in ways Kyung-Soo couldn't quite understand. This is the problem with your kind, Ixville said slowly. You prepare for war before you have enemies. You build weapons before you try to communicate. You reach for violence before peace. Dr. Minji spoke up. Her voice was calm. Arbiter, you're describing survival instinct. Humanity evolved on a dangerous world. Being unprepared meant death. We learned to plan for the worst. And in doing so, Talmara responded, you become the worst thing for everyone else. Kyung-Soo felt control slipping away. What do you want from us? Disarmament? Punishment? The Council is divided, Nixville admitted. Some want to quarantine Earth, keep you isolated until you grow past your violent nature. Others want forced integration with strict rules and watchers. And the third option? Kyung-Soo asked, though he was afraid of the answer. Preemptive action, Kelver said quietly. Destroy your ability to threaten galactic peace before you can use it. The room went cold. Colonel Wonho's hand moved toward his weapon. You would attack us for defending ourselves? If necessary, Talmara said. 74 civilizations have been destroyed by species like yours. Species who chose power over wisdom. We won't allow a 75th. Soo-Yoon, who had been quiet until now, raised her hand. May I ask something? The aliens turned to her. Has the Council ever been wrong? Has there ever been a species you misjudged? Long silence. Once, Nixville finally said. The Vral, we welcomed them. Trusted them. They used our technology to make weapons that almost destroyed 3 sectors of space before we stopped them. So you're afraid, Soo-Yoon said softly. You're afraid we'll be like the Vral. Fear is wisdom when extinction is possible, Kelver replied. Kyung-Soo took a breath. Then let us prove we're different. Give us a chance. Test us. But don't condemn humanity before you really know us. The aliens spoke to each other in languages that sounded like music and mathematics and things humanity had no words for. Finally, Nixville turned back. Very well, Ambassador Lee. The Council will give humanity a trial period. 6 of your months. We will watch. We will evaluate. And then we will decide if you deserve to exist as a free species. They vanished as suddenly as they appeared. 4 humans stood in the empty room, staring at each other. 6 months, Guano said quietly. To prove we deserve to live. Then we better not waste them, Kyung-Soo said. The Watchers came within days. Not armies or warships. Observers. 17 of them, each from a different alien species. They spread across human civilization like scientists studying animals in a zoo. They watched everything, recorded everything, judged everything. Commander Seojun found himself paired with an observer named Ralvin. It looked like floating jellyfish made of light. They patrolled the outer solar system together, checking on mining operations and making sure humans didn't build any more forbidden weapons. Your species works fast, Ralvin said one day as they watched machines carve ice from an asteroid near Jupiter. What took my people centuries, you do in decades. We had to, Seojun replied. Earth was running out of resources. We had to expand or die. Yes, I read your history. Wars over water, over oil, over land. Ralvin pulsed with colors that Seojun had learned meant concern. Tell me, Commander, has humanity outgrown such conflicts? Seojun thought about it. I want to say yes, but honestly, we've just found bigger problems to unite against. Climate change, asteroids, and now, apparently you. So you think conflict is inevitable? That peace only exists when there's a common enemy? I think, Seojun said carefully, that intelligent beings need challenges to grow. Remove all obstacles, and you become weak. Create only obstacles, and you destroy yourself. The trick is finding balance. Ralvin was quiet for a moment. The Council has kept peace for 18,000 years by setting strict limits. No kinetic weapons. No planet killers. No genocide tools. Is that balance? That's control, Seojun said honestly. Safety bought by giving up freedom. But what good is freedom if you're dead? Seojun couldn't argue with that. On Earth, Dr. Hannah worked with an observer named Kilmora. It looked like living shadow, always shifting and changing shape. They visited hospitals, schools, research centers. Kilmora seemed fascinated by human medicine. You still suffer from disease, Kilmora said, watching doctors treat cancer patients. Your technology could eliminate most of these problems, but you haven't. Medical advances take time, Hannah explained. And money. And research. We're working on it. My species eliminated all natural disease 5,000 years ago. It's simple with genetic engineering. Hannah felt anger flash through her. Then why don't you share that technology with us? The Council has rules. Technology must be earned, not given. Otherwise you become dependent and never learn. So you watch us suffer, Hannah said bitterly. To teach us a lesson? Kilmora's form rippled. To give you the chance to grow. Every civilization must walk its own path. That's easy to say when you're not the one dying. The conversation ended there. But something strange started happening as the months went on. The observers and the humans began to understand each other. Not agree. Not become friends. But understand. Ralvin began to see that human aggression came from real danger, not cruelty. Kilmora realized that human stubbornness was really determination. Other observers made similar discoveries. Humans were violent, yes, but also creative. Destructive, but also protective. Dangerous, but capable of remarkable kindness. The reports went back to the Council. And for the first time in thousands of years, the Council was divided not by fear, but by hope. Some observers reported that humanity should be destroyed or quarantined. Too dangerous. Too unpredictable. A threat that would eventually destroy others. But others reported something different. They said humanity was young and rough, like a teenager, but capable of growth. They said humans made mistakes, but learned from them. They said humanity deserved a chance. The debates in the council grew heated. Entire sectors had opinions. Some wanted Earth glassed, turned into a warning to other species. Others wanted humanity welcomed, given knowledge and tools to become better, and the deadline approached. 6 months turning into 5, then 4, then 3. On Earth, humanity tried its best to be good. They dismantled weapons programs. They focused on peaceful research. They cooperated with the observers, even when it was frustrating. They showed art, music, literature. They showed hospitals and schools. They showed everything they were proud of and tried to hide everything shameful. But you can't hide a whole civilization. The observers saw the good and the bad. They saw humans helping each other and humans hurting each other. They saw charity and greed, compassion and violence, hope and despair. They saw humanity as it really was. Complicated, contradictory, imperfect. Seojun asked Ralvin one day, "What do you think will happen when the council votes?" Ralvin pulsed with colors Seojun couldn't read. "I don't know. I've sent my report. I said humans are dangerous, but worth the risk. Others disagree. What happens if they vote against us? Quarantine, most likely. Your entire solar system sealed off. No contact. No trade. No knowledge. You'll be alone until you evolve past your violent nature. And if we never do, then you'll be alone forever." Seojun looked at Earth, small and blue in the distance. "That's what we thought we were anyway. Alone until we fired that railgun." "Perhaps," Ralvin said, "that was your true crime. Not the weapon itself, but forcing the galaxy to acknowledge you. We were comfortable pretending you didn't exist. Are you glad we made you uncomfortable?" Ralvin was quiet for a long time. "Ask me after the vote." The 6 months ended on a Tuesday. Earth received a message from the council. "Come to the Eternal Assembly," it said. "Bring representatives. The vote will be held. Ambassador Kyung-soo prepared to return to space." This time he brought more people. Scientists, soldiers, artists, teachers, children. Everyone who could show what humanity was. They boarded the ship that would take them beyond Pluto, to the Council's world-ship where their fate would be decided. "Are we ready?" Colonel Won-ho asked. Kyung-soo looked at his people. Scared but determined. Flawed but hopeful. Human. "We're as ready as we'll ever be," he said. The ship launched, carrying humanity's last chance toward the stars. The Eternal Assembly was bigger than a moon. It floated in space beyond Pluto, a structure so massive that it had its own gravity. Ships from 1,000 worlds docked at its surface, like insects on a giant sphere. Kyung-soo watched through the viewport as their shuttle approached. "I've never seen anything like this," Minji whispered beside him. None of them had. This was the heart of galactic civilization, the place where laws were made and fates decided. And somewhere inside, beings from across the galaxy were about to vote on whether humanity deserved to exist freely. The docking was smooth. The doors opened to reveal a guide, a floating sphere of blue light that spoke in perfect Korean. "Welcome, human delegation. Please follow. The council awaits." They walked through corridors that seemed to shift and change. The walls showed stars, then oceans, then colors that didn't have names. Other beings passed them. Some looked almost human. Others were so alien that Kyung-soo's brain hurt trying to understand their shapes. The council chamber was vast. Rows and rows of seats rising up into darkness. And in those seats sat representatives from across the galaxy. Thousands of them. Maybe tens of thousands. All turning to look as the humans entered. Hangzhou felt very small. Arbiter Nixville appeared at the center, its form now solid and imposing. Humanity, you have been observed for 6 months. The Council will now hear arguments for and against your continued freedom. Let those who would speak come forward. Envoy Talmara stood first. The crystal being's voice rang through the chamber. The evidence is clear. Humanity remains aggressive and territorial. Their entertainment glorifies war. Their history is written in blood. They build weapons first and ask questions later. They are not ready for galactic civilization. Murmurs of agreement rippled through the audience. Observer Kelver rose next. Yet they have shown restraint. In 6 months, they built no new weapons. They cooperated with observers. They have begun implementing peaceful technologies. They are young but learning. More murmurs, these ones thoughtful. Then Relvin spoke. I have lived among humans. I have seen their violence, yes. But I have also seen why they are violent. They protect each other fiercely. They see threats because they have faced real threats. This is not evil. This is trauma. And trauma can heal. Kilnura's shadow form rose. They are stubborn, difficult, frustrating. But this same quality makes them solve problems others wouldn't attempt. In 6 months, their medical advances were remarkable. Given time, they could contribute greatly to galactic knowledge. The debate went on for hours. Some spoke against humanity with passion and fear. Others spoke for humanity with hope and curiosity. King Su and his delegation listened, occasionally called to answer questions, but mostly they were just witnesses to their own trial. Finally, Nixville raised a hand. The human ambassador will now speak. Give your final argument, King Su Li. Kyung Su walked to the center of the vast chamber. One human facing thousands of alien beings. He had prepared a speech, written it, memorized it, practiced it. But standing there, under the weight of so many eyes, he forgot it all. He spoke from his heart instead. We're not perfect, he began. His voice sounded small in the huge space. We know this. Our history is full of mistakes and violence and destruction. But it's also full of redemption, of learning, of growth. Every generation of humanity has been better than the last. He gestured to his delegation. We ended slavery. We stopped colonial empires. We've reduced war and hunger and disease. Not eliminated them, but reduced them. We're still trying. Still fighting to be better. His voice grew stronger. We built the Railgun because we were afraid. Afraid of asteroids. Afraid of the unknown. Afraid of being unprepared. But the moment we learned it frightened you, we stopped. We listened. We changed. Isn't that what matters? Not where we've been, but where we're going. He looked up at Nixville. You ask if we're ready to join you. Maybe we're not. But we want to be. We want to learn. We want to contribute. We want to be part of something greater than ourselves. He paused. Don't judge us by our worst moments. Judge us by our capacity to overcome them. Judge us by what we can become, not what we've been. Silence filled the chamber. Deep, profound silence. Then Nixville spoke. The council will deliberate. You will have our answer soon. The humans were escorted to a waiting room. Time passed slowly. Minutes felt like hours. They sat in chairs that adjusted to their bodies and tried not to think about what was happening. Do you think it worked? One Ho asked. I don't know, Kinsu admitted. I said what I believed. That's all I could do. Minji was looking at a window, showing space outside. You know what's strange? 6 months ago, we thought we were alone. Now we're waiting to find out if we're allowed to be part of the biggest community in the universe. Everything changed so fast. Because we fired a railgun at a rock, Siajon said. He had come with them as military escort. One test shot, and the whole galaxy woke up. Maybe they needed to wake up, Suyun suggested. Maybe we all did. An hour passed. Then another. Finally, the blue light guide appeared. The council has reached a decision. Please return to the chamber. They walked back through the shifting corridors. The chamber seemed even bigger now, even more crowded. Every seat was filled. Everyone wanted to see this. Arbiter Nixville stood at the center. Its voice filled the space. The council has voted. 93 in favor. 54 against. Humanity is granted provisional membership in the galactic community. Kyung-Soo's legs nearly gave out. Cheers erupted from the human delegation. Minji was crying. Wanho was shaking his head in disbelief. Seo just smiled, but Nixville raised a hand for silence. Provisional, the Arbiter repeated. You will dismantle your kinetic weapons. You will accept technological advisors. You will submit to reviews every year. But you will also receive access to council resources, knowledge, and protection. You will have the chance to prove yourselves worthy of full membership. Talmara's crystal form caught the light. Do not make us regret this decision. We won't, Kyung-Soo promised. Thank you. All of you. We won't disappoint you. Kelvir's feathers ruffled in what might have been approval. See that you don't, Ambassador. The galaxy is watching. As the chamber emptied and aliens returned to their ships, Ralvin floated over to Siojin. Your species has a saying, yes? About squeaky wheels? Siajon laughed. The squeaky wheel gets the grease. Yeah, we say that. Perhaps humanity needed to fire that railgun. Not to threaten anyone, but to be heard. To force us to notice you. You refuse to be ignored. Are you saying we did the right thing? Ralvin pulsed with warm colors. I'm saying sometimes the most dangerous thing is not a weapon. It's silence. Humanity refused to be silent. And now the galaxy will never be the same. The news reached Earth before the delegation did. Humanity had been accepted. Provisional membership. A chance to prove themselves. The celebration started immediately. In Seoul, people danced in the streets. In New York, sirens of joy echoed between buildings. In Lagos, Cairo, Mumbai, Sydney. Every city on Earth erupted with relief and excitement. They had been judged by the galaxy and found worthy. Barely, conditionally, but worthy. Kung-Soo watched it all from the ship's observation deck as they traveled home. Minji stood beside him. It doesn't feel real yet, she said. No, Kyung-Soo agreed. We went from being alone to being on probation. It's a lot to process. What happens now? Now we prove they made the right choice. The dismantling of the railgun began the next day. Teams of engineers carefully took apart the massive weapon under the watchful eyes of council observers. Each piece was cataloged and repurposed. The magnetic coils would power research stations. The capacitor banks would help run cities. Nothing would be wasted. It feels wrong, Deho said, watching his creation come apart. We built something amazing. We built something terrifying, Jiho corrected gently. And now we're building something better. The pieces of the railgun became the foundation of the first human-alien joint research station. It orbited Mars, a symbol of cooperation. Humans and aliens working together, learning from each other, building something new. Dr. Yuna was assigned there. She worked alongside Palmara, the crystal being who had argued against humanity in the council. Why did you volunteer for this? Yuna asked one day. You wanted us quarantined. Talmara's form sparkled. I believed you were too dangerous. I still believe that. But the council voted otherwise. If I am wrong about your species, I want to discover that myself. If I am right, I want to be here to help you become better. That's very pragmatic. That's wisdom. Being wrong is not shameful. Refusing to learn from being wrong is. The station became a place of incredible discovery. Humans learned about galactic technology, fusion reactors that were clean and safe, medicine that could cure diseases thought incurable, mathematics that opened new understanding of physics. But humans also taught. They showed the aliens human art, which fascinated many species. They demonstrated human problem-solving, which often took approaches aliens had never considered. They shared music, and some aliens found it deeply moving. Your species thinks sideways, Railgun told C.I. John one day. Where we see walls, you see doors. Where we see limits, you see challenges. Is that good or bad? Both. It makes you brilliant and dangerous in equal measure. On Earth, the changes were profound. Knowing they were part of a galactic community changed everything. Old conflicts seemed smaller. National borders mattered less. Humanity started thinking of itself as one species, one people, because now they had to present a unified face to the galaxy. It wasn't perfect. There were still arguments, still problems, still violence. But there was also more cooperation than ever before. More hope. More reaching toward something better. Admiral Borum watched the changes from her office in Geneva. She was retiring soon. Her work done. The military she had built was transforming from a force for war into a force for exploration and protection. Do you think we'll make it? Her aide asked. Full membership? I think we'll try, Borum said. And for humanity, trying has always been enough. We don't give up easily. A year after the Railgun test, the first review came. Council observers examined everything humanity had done. They checked weapons development. They reviewed conflicts and resolutions. They interviewed people from all walks of life. The report was cautiously positive. Humanity had made progress. Not perfect progress, but real progress. The dangerous weapons remained dismantled. New conflicts had been resolved through talking rather than fighting. The cooperative projects with alien species were succeeding. Provisional status continues, the Council announced, with commendation for effort and growth. Kung Su read the report and felt pride mixed with determination. They had 1 year down, many more to go. 5 years later, Kung Su stood in the same council chamber where humanity had been judged. But this time, he wasn't defending his species. He was presenting their application for full membership. The chamber was full again, but the atmosphere was different. Less hostile, more curious. In 5 years, Kung Su began, humanity has contributed to 17 joint research projects. We have helped resolve 3 interspecies disputes through mediation. We have shared our culture, our knowledge, and our perspectives. We have learned from you, and we hope you have learned from us. He brought up displays showing human achievements. Medical breakthroughs shared with 5 alien species. Art installations that combined human and alien aesthetics. Peace treaties that used human negotiation techniques. We're still not perfect, Kung Su continued. We still have conflicts. We still make mistakes. But we face them honestly and work to do better. We ask not for acceptance of what we are, but recognition of what we're becoming. The vote was called. This time, the numbers were different. 132 in favor, 19 against. Humanity is granted full membership in the galactic community, Nixville announced, with all rights and responsibilities therein. This time, when the humans celebrated, they were joined by aliens. Railgun pulsed with happy colors. Talmara rang like victory bells. Even Kelvir's feathers showed approval. On Earth, the celebrations were bigger than before. Not just relief now, but pride. They had done it. They had proven themselves. In Seoul, an old man named Dae-ho watched the news with his grandchildren. "Tell us again, Grandpa," they asked. "Tell us about the railgun." Dae-ho smiled. "We built a weapon because we were afraid. We fired it once, and that one shot changed everything. Was it a mistake? It was the best mistake humanity ever made." On Mars Station, Yuna and Talmara watched Earth celebrate together. "You were wrong about us," Yuna said gently. "Wonderfully wrong," Talmara agreed. "And I am glad. Your species has taught us that growth is always possible, that fear can be overcome, that even the most dangerous beings can choose peace. What happens now? Now humanity joins us in protecting the galaxy, in exploring new worlds, in building a future together." Yuna looked at the stars, no longer silent, no longer empty. Together. "I like the sound of that." Commander Seo-jun, now Admiral Seo-jun, stood on the bridge of humanity's first joint species exploration ship. His crew was half human, half alien. They were about to depart for unexplored regions of space. "All systems ready, Admiral," his first officer reported. She was Rilvan, daughter of Rolvan. "Then let's make history," Seo-jun said. Again, the ship jumped to faster-than-light speed, carrying humans and aliens together into the unknown. Back on Earth, in a museum in Geneva, they kept a single piece of the original railgun. A small fragment of the magnetic coil, mounted with a plaque. "This weapon was fired once," the plaque read. "It destroyed an asteroid, and it woke up the galaxy. May we never again be silent. May we never again be alone." Children visited the museum and asked their parents what it meant. The parents told them the story. How humanity had been afraid. How they built a weapon. How firing it once changed everything. "Are we still afraid?" the children asked. "Sometimes," the parents answered honestly. "But we're not alone anymore. And that makes all the difference." The galaxy had gone silent when humanity fired its railgun. But then it had spoken back. And in speaking, in listening, in learning together, both humanity and the galaxy had become something better. The conversation was just beginning, and it would echo across the stars for generations to come.